We have today a new high-end camera phone from Oppo, the Find X9 Pro. What has Oppo come up with this time around, and is this the camera flagship you need to get? I'm Will Gove for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Oppo Find X9 Pro review. The Oppo Find X9 Pro is a smartphone that packs the premium features you'd expect from an Android flagship, complete with some of the most cutting-edge cameras around. And these cameras have gotten some big changes from last year. The Find X9 Pro has a new main and selfie cam, and it swaps out the two telephoto zooms of the previous model for a single 200 megapixel one. And on top of that, this phone's zoom game can be taken a step further with an attachable telephoto extender that offers 10 times optical zoom, sold separately. Besides the cameras, the Find X9 Pro also stands out with a huge 7500 mAh battery, backed up by 80 watts SuperVOOC charging. And there's a top-tier Dimensity chipset, a suite of AI features, and of course a high-end display as well. Despite the phone's larger than usual battery, it weighs roughly the same as other recent camera phones, at 224 grams. You have a matte back made of Gorilla Glass, and the square camera bumps cutouts lend a bit of a unique look. The flat frame here is made of aluminum, and overall the phone feels quite premium. Up towards the top of the phone you have a hardware button, like on the recent iPhones. It can be used to silence the phone, or you can assign it to a number of other different functions and settings. And like last year, the phone has advanced ingress protection. It's rated at IP68 against dust and water submersion, and IP69 against jets of heated water. The display of the Find X9 Pro is a 6.78-inch LTPO OLED with a higher resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. There's plenty of brightness here. We measured around 800 nits maximum with a manual slider, and this was able to boost to just under 1200 nits in auto mode when exposed to bright light. We also saw that the screen could even boost much higher in the gallery. The screen's high refresh rate makes it quite smooth when scrolling around, and since it uses LTPO tech, it's extra adaptive, able to dial down as low as 1 Hz when idling to save energy. There's no support for high frame rate gaming here though. Like last year, we couldn't get any game to run in over 60 FPS. In general, the display looks great. It's plenty sharp with a pixel density of 450 ppi, and contrasty too. And it also has support for HDR10+ and Dolby Vision video playback. The Oppo Find X9 Pro has a pair of stereo speakers, and they earned a good rating for loudness in our testing. The sound quality is balanced. Oppo seems to have toned down the highs and mids compared to last year. You can listen for yourself through a comparison tool linked below. For biometrics, there's an ultrasonic under-display fingerprint scanner. It's fast and reliable to wake up the phone. And you can get the Find X9 Pro with 256 or 512 gigs or a whole terabyte of UFS 4.1 storage on board. That's not expandable through microSD. The interface of the phone is Oppo's ColorOS 16, running on top of Android 16. It isn't so different from the previous version, but there are a handful of changes here and there. For example, now there's a selection of animated lock screen clock styles with a 3D-like depth effect. Also, in the app drawer, you get a tab where your apps are automatically grouped into categories. Besides that, it's quite familiar. The smart sidebar offers a space for shortcuts, which open apps in a pop-up window. The sidebar can also give you suggestions for AI features, if the situation calls for it. There are actually a bunch of AI-based features in ColorOS. One unique one is the search function that's always available on the home screen. It can search for functions within your settings and supported apps, and even give suggestions if you need help doing something on the phone. There's also an AI writer, which can generate text, AI translate for your translation needs, AI voice scribe, which can read text out loud to you or describe images, and the AI recorder, which can summarize voice notes you take with it. And there's the Mindspace, which is an AI-driven note-taking platform. You can assign this function to the hardware button, and from there it's easy to add a screenshot or a voice note to your Mindspace. And after you save info into this space, the AI sorts it, so it's easy to find later. There's an AI Studio app, which you can use to generate images or animations. You can also have the AI give a new look to existing images. And there are quite a few AI-based photo editing tools in the gallery as well, including changing the composition of the shot, erasing objects, and removing reflections. For support, Oppo says the Find X9 Pro should get 5 OS updates as well as 6 years of security patches. Powering all of these features is a new chipset, a MediaTek Dimensity 9500. It promises much better CPU, graphics, and AI performance over the previous gen chip found in last year's Find X Pro. In benchmarks, the Find X9 Pro did show some improvements over last year's model, though the differences weren't exactly night and day. Still, the scores here are excellent, on par with flagship phones equipped with a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. It should be enough for all your heavy games and complex tasks. But like other phones with a high-powered chipset, the Find X9 Pro undergoes thermal throttling under stress. In our prolonged CPU stress test, it quickly dropped to less than half of its peak performance. The Find X9 Pro has a silicon carbon battery with a whopping 7,500 mAh capacity. So, is it a battery life champ? The test results speak for themselves. The Find X9 Pro earned the highest active use score we've seen yet, at just about 22 hours. Very impressive. The phone supports 80-watt Super VOOC charging, or up to 55 watts using USB power delivery. We tried both types of chargers, and they charged at the same rate in half an hour, taking the phone from 0 to a little over 50%. Though when charging to full, the Super VOOC charger was faster. The times are solid considering the size of the battery. There's also support for wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Now the cameras. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a new 200-megapixel 3x telephoto cam. The 50-megapixel main cam is also a new one, and there's a 50-megapixel ultra-wide with autofocus. The phone has a hardware key which you can use to control the cameras, like you see on the iPhones. It doesn't click, but it's pressure sensitive, and it can be used to launch the camera and shoot. It recognizes swipes too for adjusting zoom. The Find X9 Pro captures great photos with its main camera. Dynamic range is excellent, getting you well-developed extremes, but also nice global contrast. Color rendition is easily likable, with just the right amount of pop, and the auto white balance is dependable too. Detail is nice and crisp, and noise is non-existent, but foliage can be just a little bit too artificial on occasion. Shots of people are also excellent, with pleasing skin tones and well-developed facial detail. There's a bit of natural background blur too. If you'd like some additional separation between subject and background, the portrait mode will deliver that, with pretty much no errors along the borders. The main camera can capture nice 2x zoom shots too. The photos are sharp and detailed for the most part, but the phone tends to smear detail sometimes in certain types of areas. In the dark, the main camera takes top-class photos. Its exposures are excellent, and there's plenty of dynamic range for both well-contained highlights and developed shadows. Colors are great, and the white balance is typically accurate. Detail is nice and sharp, and quite naturally rendered too. And now the 200-megapixel 3x telephoto cam. It takes 12-megapixel photos, and they're superb. There's excellent detail here, and even high-frequency textures have a reasonably natural rendition. Colors are great, and dynamic range is excellent. We enjoyed the 3x shots of people too. Skin tones are lifelike, and detail is great. The natural background separation is nice too. Last year's model had a dedicated 6x zoom, which you now need to achieve digitally. The results are still good, sharpness is excellent, and detail is generally great. But like we saw with the main cam's digital zoom, you get some soft areas here and there. The telephoto's short focusing distance of around 9 centimeters allows for some top quality close-ups with excellent detail. You can get even larger reproduction at the 6x zoom level, with almost as good pixel level clarity. At night, the 3x zoom photos have excellent sharpness and wide dynamic range. There was the occasional misstep in white balance, but it's not a major issue. The 6x shots at night are usable, but not quite as easy to like. You get both softness and some jagged edges creeping in. What we just covered was what you can do with the zoom camera's built-in lens, but there's another option, an external zoom attachment. When it's combined with the native camera, it provides 10x optical zoom. Of course, it adds quite a bit of bulk and weight. We also didn't quite like that you can't keep the adapter screwed onto the back, as it covers the other cameras. Anyway, here's a look at some of these 10x zoom shots we captured with the Teleconverter installed. Okay, moving on to the Find X9 Pro's ultra-wide camera. It puts in a solid performance. Colors and dynamic range are excellent, and detail is very good. At night, the ultra-wide camera does fine too, along the same standard as other flagship camera phones. Detail is alright, dynamic range is good, and colors are generally on point. Selfies come from a new 50-megapixel front-facing cam which has autofocus. It's a nice improvement from last year, and you get some good selfies with plenty of detail and likable skin tones. Though with indoor scenes, the white balance can lean a little cold. Like last year, the Find X9 Pro can record video in up to 4K at 60 FPS with all of its cameras, but now the main and zoom cameras can do 120 FPS slow-mo in 4K as well. The main camera's videos are great, capturing wide dynamic range and vivid colors. We would take a bit more fine detail, but it's very good as it is. The 3x zoom camera's 4K results are excellent during the day. And 6x clips are very good as well, almost as good as on the previous generation that had an actual 6x camera. The Ultrawide's videos are solid too, with great colors and dynamic range, and good detail. Video stabilization is excellent on the Find X9 Pro across all scenarios. The footage consistently comes out smooth. At night, the main camera continues to deliver high-quality videos. Detail is good, noise is well controlled, and dynamic range and colors are excellent. The 3x telephoto clips are also very good, if a notch less sharp than last year's model. The Ultrawide has gotten a little better this year though. Its low-light footage is sharper and better detailed, with wider dynamic range. So there you have it, the Oppo Find X9 Pro. It's a flagship with excellent cameras, a bunch of AI features, and the best battery life around. The phone's new telephoto camera is great, and quite versatile out of the box. But you also have that option to buy that external zoom lens, if you need even further reach. Something that might turn certain people off is that there's no support for high frame rate gaming here. But if that doesn't concern you, the Find X9 Pro is a well-rounded camera phone and battery beast that's worth recommending. Thanks for watching, guys. We're gearing up to cover the latest crop of flagships from Vivo, iQOO, OnePlus, and Honor, so stay tuned, it's going to be a busy month for the channel. Let us know what you think about the Find X9 Pro, and I'll see you on the next one.